I can get back. Oh. What does it look like to you right now? Can you see me or not?
Hang on a sec, Phil. I'm just doing this link and then I'll look. Okay, let's get back in there again then. No, what's up now is the Phil and Phil show is banners up.
So if I put, okay, so I can't look at YouTube at the same time as this. That's okay.
But I could though, couldn't I?
Yeah. Sometimes I like to have it up, but I don't know where Tim's been the last couple of weeks. But
open up another window and put YouTube on it, Phil.
Yeah, just go to Phil and Phil.
Is it Phil and Phil or the Phil and Phil on YouTube?
I don't recall.
Oh, hang on, I've got it. Oh, it's all going on here. I'm just changing my tag there.
Hi guys, we're just you waiting for everyone to join, the millions of the Phil and Phil show fans to join, and then we'll get going. Free hugs to anybody watching. There we go. Hi Charlie. Hi Phil.
Hey Phil.
You ready?
No, not quite. I'm just going to the Phil and Phil show and getting up. Huh? I'm just going to the Phil and Phil show and getting up.
Okay. Well, I'll wait till you're there.
YouTube. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get YouTube up so I can watch the YouTube and do the show at the same time. This is what Phil normally does.
Phil and Phil hugs. Yay, Charlie.
Live. Huh, we're right there live.
Make sure you mute it.
I've never done this before, Phil.
Just pause it. And then you'll see any live comments if they come up.
That's funny watching me on the computer, isn't it? So I've got
There he goes. Mute it. Pause it. Something.
Yeah, I've paused it.
Yeah.
Where do I see the comments then, Phil?
You should see live comments next to the video. Do you see that?
No. Nope.
No, don't worry about it. Let's get going.
Might be because I'm not signed in, Phil.
Okay.
Oh, so maybe that's a waste of time anyway. All right, I'll come back to you.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And here we are on the Phil and Phil show. Thanks for bearing with us as our usual starting engine moment.
Yeah. Sorry about my the red light. I don't understand. I'm in a white room with a bit of brown furniture and a white lampshade and a white bulb, and somehow I'm being red. But anyway, there we go. So welcome everybody.
Your divine masculine is shining through.
I like that film.
Thanks. It's a little color therapy for both of us.
Yeah, right. I need a bit of
after what you've been through, your light is shining so bright now.
Oh man, that's been tough, I can tell you.
So 5.5 days of zero by mouth, not even a drop, not even brushing your teeth.
No, not a drop of water is allowed, Phil.
By mouth, right? So you can have showers. Go ahead, you tell us all about it. What happened?
Yeah, so I just put mute on my phone. Oh, someone asking is there a show tonight, so I think I better reply to that because that's important. Sorry guys, Phil, say something. I'm back. Sorry. I'm back. Yeah, so my journey. I've got a video to put up. So I did a journey yesterday morning. So my journey is I've just been on a 5.5 day So I broke my fast on day 6 of a dry fast. That's 0 by mouth, no food, no water. And the plan is that you mainly breathe through your nose so you don't dehydrate yourself as well. And yeah, been a really epic experience to know that actually I can quite easily do 5.5 days. It was dippy, right? It was a bit of a roller coaster. But what I learned was, and this is really important, so I want to share this bit because it's important in our daily lives, this piece, is what happened to me after a couple of days, air became my food. It's really important. If I didn't, so I was doing it with a friend of mine called Pete from Simply Rogers, and he said, Phil, go outside. So I go outside and I'd stand and just take a few deep breaths, not many, just a few deep, really bringing that breath right down into my belly and emptying it right out of my lungs and doing that only 5 or 10 times. And I go back in and be like, in the beginning, I just didn't do it enough because I didn't understand that basically I was being a breatharian. Didn't understand. I didn't realize that air, oxygen, whatever you want to call it, was my fuel. It's really fascinating process. So on Friday, which was day 5, I went out to Glastonbury with Pete for a few hours.
Wow.
I was talking to people, and my voice was getting, because it's best not to talk and do anything out of your mouth, really. And also you can't spit. Any saliva you get, you have to save it and swallow it because it's really important, right? So I was sat in a car waiting for him, windows done up. It's an electric car, not electric, but it's got electric windows. So I couldn't open the windows. And I was like, and I just felt worse and worse and worse and worse, thinking, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do it. And then I thought, oh, I'll open the door. So I opened the door, got a bit of fresh air for a few minutes. And it's just like, man, I feel terrible. So I got out the car, walked to the back of the car and leant on the back of the car and breathed for my life, right? I was just breathing away. I've never done so much breathing as I've done the last 3 or 4 days. And all of a sudden I started to feel revitalized. And I was like, oh my God. And this is like drinking a juice or having a watermelon smoothie or having a snack. And I just didn't realize the importance of, I know this sounds a bit daft, but I didn't realize the importance of breathing. Just, it was epic, that realization of, oh, wow, when I come back into the normal world, I have to have air brakes. Not air brakes like lorries have or buses, but air brakes. We need air brakes. So, I was saying to someone, can you imagine if, so smokers go outside and have a fag break, right? For about 5 minutes, approximately every hour, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
So if we put that into our working day where you went outside, no, not that, sorry, not that at all.
So it's called smoking now? Oh.
If we went and put that in our daily lives as an air brake,
Mm-hmm.
I think anyone that works, it's not so important for people that work outdoors, although it is important to consciously breathe. And I was thinking, imagine like in your environment for at work, if everybody had to go outside for 5 minutes and do diaphragmatic breathing.
Well, conscious diaphragmatic breathing. You see, you stop everything and you just focus on the breath. Wow. Mm-hmm.
5 minutes an hour.
Yeah.
Most people don't do 5 minutes a year.
Right.
So imagine if you wanted to upgrade your workforce, 5 minutes an hour, they go outside, they breathe. Someone can lead it, whatever, do it themselves, but they would breathe for 5 minutes an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the productivity,
right,
and the health for that company.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it was life-changing. Everyone's on about, let's have their tea, let's have their coffee, let's have a snack. I'm not saying stop that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is add in
Mm-hmm.
to your daily lifestyle breathing. Even if you just breathe once in the morning, it's more than most people are doing. If you breathe when you get up in the morning, and it's really important that it's either at an open window or outside. And
What do you mean, Phil? I'm always breathing. I don't stop breathing. I don't understand.
Well, yeah, that's a fantastic thing, Phil, because everyone's going to say, yeah, but if I didn't breathe, I'd die. I get that. I get that anyway all the time, right? But who's actually going outside and consciously breathing, even if it's just for 5 breaths, 1 breath, 2 breaths, it doesn't matter. But the thing that I found is it actually made me feel alive again.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just mind-boggling the difference 5 or 10 deep breaths actually made to me. Mm-hmm. And do you know what? I've already forgotten today because I felt lousy today, right? I broke my fast yesterday at about 4:30 in the morning because I had 3 hours sleep in 48 hours. And I slept a lot. I slept for about 14 hours today. And of course I've forgotten already. So it's really great doing this show because it's reminding me to get that process back in. People talk about meditation and meditating, but make breathing your meditation, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and there's many forms of breathing. They can be crazy breathing exercises, but it can actually just can be sitting down in nature and observing your breath slowly in and out through your nose, and like just slowing it down and becoming aware of your breath, and that can be it. Like, and that seems kind of silly, but it's slowing down and just noticing your breath. It doesn't need to be a crazy Wim Hof breathing exercise. It can be just sitting there and observing the breath. And then there's something really there is physiological stuff really powerful about breathing through the nose, and why that's most mentioned. And this is talked about is you're actually we create nitrous oxide in something like that in the nose, or we absorb it, and there's a way so it gives us energy. Go ahead.
I think we absorb it.
Yeah, we absorb it. So, which is energy for the cells. And then the ancients have always talked about breath and prana, life force. So we're getting that life coming into the body, and we really don't need to eat much. Eating is kind of a pleasurable thing on some levels.
Well, eating becomes number one a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, it's actually all about comfort. It's all about pain relief. And it consumes so much of our lives.
Right.
So, that it's got to be, what I've just been through in the last 5.5 days. Well, when I say been through, it's an experience, right? It was a
shamanic journey, really. It was like within you. It was your journey.
It was massive. Yeah, it was really epic. And one of the other messages I got really clear is I've got to up my game, dietary wise, and and clearly with breath. And I have to, and I'm well up for being reminded of that, because I think it's a habit I haven't yet got into. I always thought breathing had to be technical. So this is really important, guys. I always thought breath work had to be done in a specific way and technically. Well, I can tell you now, I've basically been a breatharian for 5.5 days. It doesn't matter how you do it, apart from breathing in and out of your nose. I had hay fever while I was doing it, and the hay fever still didn't go. It's reduced a lot, but I had hay fever whilst doing a dry fast, man. So it was actually a real challenge for me to go outside and breathe, because I was getting pollen in my nose. So it's actually really difficult for me to go outside and breathe in through my nose and out through my nose for very long. So it wasn't something that was actually not very pleasant, because I had to, deal with that lot going on. But so what I tended to do is breathe in through my mouth, in through my nose and out through my mouth, because it's not as good, but I can tell you now it's better than nothing at all.
Right.
Because
there's also a certain detox aspect to breathing out of your mouth a little bit. I mean, yeah, you may lose some moisture, but there's the breath exhalation there's a lot of toxins come out of the system, so that can be helpful sometimes to breathe out of the mouth. Like in the yogic tradition, they do the lion's breath,
What's that then, Phil?
You go, that's that.
Oh wow! So breathe in through the mouth, out through the in through the
Well,
nose.
you do in through the nose and out through the mouth. Yeah. And you like opening up all of that energy. So,
Oh wow!
Julia, should we let Julia in?
Yep. I'll let Julia in.
I think I got it.
Oh, welcome, Julia. I think this is the first live show you've joined us on. That's brilliant. Julia's a friend of mine, Phil. She used to come to Fire Circle with me.
Cool.
Um,
So, Julia, we're talking about dry fasting. Phil's just been on a 5.5 day dry fast.
yeah. I know, it's like part of me just can't believe it yet. But do I recommend it? I'll tell you what, it's an amazing experience, but it is not for the light-hearted or the uninitiated.
You probably don't drop into it, right? If you've not ever done type of cleansing.
Yeah, it needs prep. I mean, actually, on a level, I breezed through it. If I would have been doing breathing exercises properly, it would have been a breeze.
But it was harder because of the hay fever. You probably would have done it more. You probably were like, oh, that, because it didn't feel good. So
when I broke on Friday evening, after I've been out for a few hours, I was really down and tired, and I was just like, I just want to stop. I'm done. And then I went outside and breathed. Pete's like, Phil, get outside and breathe. That's what's wrong with you. And I'm like, oh yeah. So I went outside and breathed, and I came back in and said, thank you so much. I'm all right. I'm fine. And I felt really good, actually. And then I just said to Pete, do you know what? I'm going to stop tomorrow, which is day 6, because I feel really good.
Ah, cool.
So I stopped because I felt good. And, and that to me was really important, was stopping whilst I was good, and not because the really hard thing, and I can tell you this now from experience, is breaking that fast. It's so tough, so difficult. Oh, interesting. That's my light gone. Well, not my light, but the light. Sorry, guys. I'll try again. Yeah. So breaking it's so difficult because you haven't consumed anything for 5 or 6 days. All of your organs have been put on hold to do their cleansing work, and detoxification and cleansing. That's all the organs have gone into that detox mode where they that's their job. Their job is, how on earth am I going to get water? I put my finger, get water, create water. How are we going to get fed now? So the organs must, I don't know this scientifically, but they must work differently, because get this, Phil, right? I was peeing 3/4 of a litre of water a day.
Wow.
Even on day 4, 5, even on day 5, 3/4 of a litre is about, I think 32 ounces is roughly a litre, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing about 28 ounces, urinating 28 ounces a day.
Which is probably less than normal, right? But
yeah, a lot less than normal. That's still a lot. It's like, that's like one bladder full, I should think.
Right. So how was it?
Actually, probably not. It's probably 2. It's like going to it's about like having a wee twice a day, I should think.
Yeah. Was it dark?
Yeah, really dark.
Okay.
But I was just like, wow.
How am I peeing? I'm not drinking.
But how am I peeing that much? I was expecting to pee, kind of, I thought after day 4 or 5, I'd be peeing like an inch in the bottom of the glass. But it was I haven't got the glass with me, but it was a 750 ml glass filled to the brim. Wow, nearly full. And it's just like, wow. So after day 2, your body starts to create its own water, which they call, what do they call it? So basically the water, the body starts to create internal water. So when the essential fatty acids are broken down as fuel. There's water in there.
Mhm.
And those essential fatty acids, they create their own water. But what they're saying from the research is the water that you create internally feeds nothing apart from you. It doesn't feed parasites, viruses, bacteria. It doesn't feed anything. So you've got this whole mind thing going on. You know, the initial thing is, well, you know, we can't live without food and water. Then the next thing is you've got the emotional stuff coming up where, oh my God, I feel terrible. This is awful, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got all the parasites and bacteria that are competing for water as well, because they know they're just about to die.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sending their little signals up going, I want water. I want water. Come on, give me water. No, you need a drink. Oh, no. Well, when you're in the shower, just one drop. You could just do one drop. It's fine. Go on, just have one drop. You know, and all these little conversations whenever there's water near. Oh, but we could. That would be good for us. Let's just have a bit of that. So, but the interesting thing is, though, I had zero desire for food and I was never hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'd sit with Pete and Pete would eat a gourmet full slap up meal every night. And I'd sit with him while he was eating his dinner.
Mm-hmm.
No effect at all. The thing that I struggled with was juice, herbal tea. When I was in Glastonbury, it was like, to me, it was like everybody was having a drink.
I bet. You're like,
of course they were, but it was like, it just felt like everybody that I saw was swigging out of a bottle of something or other. And I was like, I just want to drink. So that's what got me was drinking or really juicy fruit. So I didn't crave any normal food with what people would never craved any. I didn't go through any old food cravings. Nothing about old food came up at all. Actually, the last few days, alcohol came up.
ooh.
It's a really interesting one. Yeah, thinking about it. I mean, I haven't.
You got a deep level. Wow, that's interesting.
I haven't drunk alcohol since 1997. So what's that? 24 years. And this was funny actually. This little voice was saying, "Hey, we could learn to make herbal tinctures, and you could have a swig of that because you could do that. You could have a little shot glass. You could have a little shot glass every night because that'd be really good for you, right?" It's a really interesting conversation having with myself, and I almost convinced myself that it was a good idea to make some Swedish bitters and then have a shot every day. So then I got on the internet looking at really good quality stuff to make it up, and I thought, oh, I don't really want vodka. You know, I don't want a vodka extract because vodka's made out of grain or potato. It's not very good. And then I thought, oh, so this is a good one. My little tipple used to be Calvados, which is apple brandy, right?
Okay.
So I thought, oh, they make tinctures out of brandy. I wonder what percentage Calvados is. It's about 38%. It's almost strong enough to make tinctures out of. But I went on this whole journey looking at the price of bottles of Calvados, and
wow.
Since I started drinking juice again, all those ideas have gone. It's really interesting. So yeah, that must have been a very deep level because so I must have been clearing out some alcohol residues.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. Wow. It's potent stuff.
And apparently it takes 2 weeks to get your energy levels back.
So what are you doing now?
I broke my fast with pure raw young coconut water for the potassium. Then I went into celery juice because of its sodium. So I watered the celery juice down by 50%. And I had a few little glasses of 50-50 celery juice and water. The first celery juice I had was like absolute nectar. I mean, it was just totally delicious. The second glass was bitter. And it's just like, oh man, that was the third drink I'd had after 6 days. It was bitter celery juice. And it's just like, oh, so I made, someone's trying to get hold of me badly, aren't they?
Bing. So Susan and I just watched, there's a movie, it's called The Science of Fasting. I don't know if you've seen it.
This is all Tim, Phil, and he's saying, can you get Phil to check YouTube?
Why?
Well, obviously he's messaging us, isn't he? Let's see if I can. No, I have to.
No, I'll go move around a little bit. So I'm gonna grab the computer.
Yeah, I don't. I'm away without my password for.
That's fine. Unplug that. I'll just have the computer next to me. Just give me a sec.
All right. So if you're going to do that, I was going to mess around, but if you're going to do that, that's cool. I'll get a little bit off of there. And then I'll come back to you.
It's a crazy show today. Oh, it's always crazy.
Say that again, Phil.
The crazy show. Okay.
This is a nice. I've been trying to find soft things to make a juice out of, Phil.
What do you got there?
So yeah, while you're doing that, Phil, I'll talk people through this. So this is a juice that I wanted kind of softness in my juice. So I love carrots, right? And Norman Walker was a real great advocate of carrots. You know, he said that you could even get children on carrot juice as young as 6 months old. So I thought, well, if you can get children on carrot juice as young as 6 months old, surely I can drink carrot juice coming out of this fast. So I've got carrot, apple, and then I needed some greens for some chlorophyll and some magnesium. So I've put in spinach, a little bit of celery for sodium, and parsley, because parsley is a really nice, soft green juice. Oh, and I've also put in alfalfa sprouts, because alfalfa sprouts are building. So alfalfa sprouts, you know, they use it for the top racehorses in the world, alfalfa grass or hay. So I thought I'd put alfalfa in because it's really building and strengthening. So also what I've got to do is nurture my new stem cells, because when you dry fast, you get new stem cells. If you don't dry fast, you don't get any stem cells.
Do you think that's really true? Because they have said that water fasting and juice fasting does create some new stem cells.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But I don't know. Because I mean, it is powerful to go on a water and a plain juice fast, and we do see some powerful rejuvenation. But whether it creates stem cells, I don't know.
So I was told by somebody that 5 days of dry fasting is the equivalent of 10 days of water fasting, and it's the equivalent of 60 days of juice.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the thing that I love juice fast, right? Because once you get used to it and doing them, the juice is just epic.
Right.
But you have to do 60 days, and that costs you a lot of money. When you dry fast, it costs you nothing. You dry fast for 5 days, which gives you the benefits of a 60-day juice fast, but it costs you nothing. Obviously, you need to initiate yourself, right? You need to, because it is, like Phil said at the beginning of the show, it is a shamanic journey. It's epic. And God knows what it would be like doing it if you haven't done the level of work that I've done. And having people around you, like my friend Pete, just to say, Phil, get outside and breathe. And I was going in the sauna, Phil, as well.
Nice. Wow.
But not to sweat.
Okay, so you just got warm.
Go in the sauna to be warm enough to have a cold shower. So I was in the sauna. I'd be in the sauna, not breaking a sweat, because that's really important. You can't afford to sweat. Then I'd go out and have a cold shower, then go back in the sauna and dry off, then go back and have a cold shower. And I might do that 5 or 10 times, but never sweat. Around dry fast, there's all these rules and all these different things to take into consideration. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry, guys. You know, there's all these rules and things to take into consideration. I haven't had my microphone by me. There's all these rules and things to take into consideration. So basically, there's a hard dry fast and a soft dry fast. So a hard dry fast is no water at all. no cleaning teeth, no contact with water at all, no hands, no feet, no face, nothing at all. Then there's a soft dry fast where people have contact with water and clean their teeth. The research that I've done says if one drop of water passes through your lips, you don't create your own endogenous water. And that's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this other school of thought called the Phoenix Protocol, which is the book that I read and studied. Was his big thing is we can educate our skin to absorb water. So, but it seems to be crucial to me not to let a drop past your mouth. So you can. So I would say really, it's when you're cleaning your teeth, it's like a soft dry fast, because you're not making your water. And that, well, I'm not going to say that categorically. My understanding is you don't make any water if any water passes your lips, which does make sense because the body's then going to get confused. Well, I've got no water and I've got a drop. I've got no water and I've got a drop. So how does it know when it's going to get no water? So I think in my experience and reading is crucial. If you want to dry fast successfully, it's crucial not to put any water in your mouth. Whereas it sounds like a great idea to educate your skin so it absorbs water. So going out. So the other thing I did when I was in the sauna was I made sure that that there's a bowl on Pete's sauna. He's put he's welded a saucepan to the sauna. So I made sure that I always had water in it. So and then I was breathing in. So I was always breathing in moist air.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of being in a dry sauna, I thought this was just my little thing is, well, why don't you just have a water on so you've got moisture, breathe through your nose. So you're getting moist air. So I was because it's really important to stay hydrated on that level, so we can educate ourselves to absorb the moisture through the air from breathing, and we can educate our skin to breathe so it can absorb water. Because I had no idea that our skin actually absorbed water.
It makes sense though.
Of course it does, but we are some of the realizations I had about how, I'm going to try and say it this way, how much truth has been hidden from us. Mm-hmm. Because when you start to do this level of work, it's like, so it's not true then. I won't swear either, Phil. I'll try and make it a children-friendly show. So, the old adage was, if you haven't got breath for 3 minutes, you're going to die. If you don't have water for 3 minutes, you're going to die. And if you don't have breath for 3 minutes, and they say you're probably going to die. Water for 3 days, then you're probably, that's it. And food for 3 weeks. Well, I've hardly eaten any solid food for 18 months, so that's not true. I've just been without water for 5.5 days, so that's not true. I'm not going to stretch the air thing.
Well, can though. I mean, we know of yogis who have not breathed for long periods of time.
Yeah,
and go into an altered state of consciousness. So we know even that is not 100% true. So it's really on the fringe, but we know it's not true. We know that
I think if we talk about average people on a standard British diet and a standard American diet, then that's probably all true.
Right.
Because they're so toxic. If they stop eating, their body goes into detox, and then they can get septicemia, and they just go into toxic shock.
Right.
So because of the way that we've been educated, the chances are the breath, the food, and the water thing is true. But when you get to the shamanic, the proper, or some of the shamanic practices, all this stuff goes out the window. All of these sort of educated truths are clearly not true. And, I'm at the end of the day, I'm not special. I'm just a normal person, but I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of juice fasts. I've done a lot of cleansing. I've had a lot of things like homeopathy. I've had a lot of, I've hydrated my body really well. I've done lots of emotional work. I've done lots of spirit work. I've done a lot of shamanic work. I've done, fire walks. I've done bending of steel bars with my throat and all sorts of things to really test myself and push myself forwards. But I started off as a builder that ate meat, potatoes, and drank loads of beer, smoked fags. I started off the same as everybody else. But it's a journey. It's a journey through evolution back to ourselves. And clearly, we are incredible, far more incredible even than I thought before I did that. Because once you do something like that and you let go of so much stuff, it's like, oh, so if I can do this, of course, I've been prepping for years, but you don't need to do the level of prep I've done. But the level of prep I've done made it actually fairly easy. I was going to go to 7 days, but I think if I hadn't have had the hay fever and I could have breathed properly and not been sneezing and coughing, it would have made life an awful lot easier. I never thought of that until just before. It's like, yeah, June, I don't do much work in June because I have hay fever. So I fast. Well, juice fasting or, water fasting or something else would have probably been, a different thing. But when you're doing nothing and you're relying on the breath, you're relying on your nostrils. It wasn't until I got into it going, and then after day 2, the hay fever still hadn't gone. Day 3, it still hadn't gone. And I'm going, man, this is a challenge. But still, even though I was losing quite a lot of water out of my nose, I was still okay. But it did make the breathing thing a real challenge. Yeah.
So anyway, that's great. So I was mentioning that Susan and I watched the Science of Fasting documentary yesterday, and that was pretty cool. And it kind of all started like at least these guys, like the research on this, it was like people doing it in Russia at these sanatoriums, and it started out in this sanatorium in Russia, and you probably heard this story, where there was like some guy who was like really like psychological. They were doing weird, like psychological stuff on people, like all that weird stuff in the sanatoriums. And this patient who was really out of balance didn't want to eat, and the doctor was like, "Well, why not? Let him not eat." And then I imagine he was dry fasting because he was probably refusing everything. I imagine. And then eventually I think they mentioned that he got some juice or something, but like things started to turn around and his brain came into balance, things. And then he basically left the sanatorium after like 15 days or something like that and went back into normal life. And this is a guy who was like totally messed up. Like he would have been there for life under the regular care. And he basically walked out like totally fine and lived the rest of his life,
Right, you're talking about that then, Phil. I went into this with a little heart condition. I haven't got it written down what it is, but it's not palpitations. It's EVP or something, where the heart beats at the wrong time.
Okay.
So you get a really big boom, boom. You get a really big heartbeat. And I went into this thinking, after I got into day 3 or 4 and it was really coming on, I was thinking, this probably isn't a good idea to be dry fasting and nothing while I've got this little heart condition going on. And so I phoned up my friend, the scientist, and was talking to him, and he said, "Oh, that's whatever I just said it was. I think it's a PCV or something. I can't remember." And he explained to me what it does, and I'm like, because I said I had palpitations, and he said, "Well, tell me again." No, that's not palpitations. And I was like, "Oh," and he said, "Is it like this?" And I said, "Yeah, it's exactly like that." He said, "Right, that's whatever it was," and I was like, "Oh," and it's basically a magnesium deficiency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking, God, this is grim, isn't it? I'm going into a dry fast, magnesium deficient with a heart condition. It's gone.
But it's just, so this was happening regularly, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But every now and again, I get a little kind of a bit like your heart racing. I get a little attack,
mm-hmm.
and it was coming on a lot. But it was interesting when I wasn't breathing. When I breathed, all the symptoms went away when I breathed. But now I've come out of that. I guess I can feel a little subtle sense of it. So I've got to get back on the green stuff and get magnesium in my body. But I was sure it was going to get worse. I thought, well, the only thing this is going to do is get worse. This is ridiculous. Fast when I've got this heart condition going on. Maybe I should stop. Get the magnesium in my body and sort it all out.
You went through that, which is interesting. So you had that like mainstream reaction. It's like, I'm going to get sick. This is impossible. There's no way I can survive this kind of thing. You had all those fears come up.
Yeah. So what I was realizing was my body was correcting a so-called magnesium deficiency on fresh air. Excuse the pun, but it was doing it on fresh air. Well, toxic, poisonous air probably, but the best air we've got at the moment. So right. Phil, if I was able, through breath work with the toxic, crappy air we've got now, imagine what it would have been like 200 or 300 years, well, before the industrial revolutions.
Right. Well, I mean, you wonder, right? Like these different people like Gerson, and that was like at the cusp of but they were probably having these fasting centers in nature where it was untouched. But there was industry back then, but they were getting more miraculous results. Like the raw food approach was turning people around, but they weren't as bombarded with the EMFs, with the pollution. And so it's harder now to do it.
Now, this is the same as I couldn't understand why I wasn't getting well on a raw food diet, right? And then I watched a video of Dr. Robert Morse's months ago, probably now. And he's saying the raw food doesn't seem to work anymore. We have to have the herbs as well. You can't just do the raw food now and turn your health around. Some people, I'm not going to make that as a sweeping statement for everybody, because I know there's a lot of people that have had miracles with just going organic, let alone raw food. Right. But it's definitely harder to cure deep diseases now just with raw food, because so moving on from that with Pete, what Pete got, which was really interesting, he did 8 days. He broke us on his 8th day, and what he realized was that his organs had stopped communicating with each other. So in their original state, they subtly communicate and send information to each other about what's going on in the body. And Pete's like going, wow, Phil, they don't do it anymore. And I was like, no, mate, that's why we need the herbs. So we've got depths to rebuild, not just the illness, but we've got all this ancestral illness, trauma. And I think they said it in the Bible really clearly, didn't they? The sins of the father will how does it go, Phil? The sins of the father will visit the children or something.
Oh, that makes sense. Wow, that's interesting.
And now what I can see is the sin is not detoxify. Mm-hmm. So all you're doing is you're passing on your distorted toxic DNA to your children, and then when they're born deformed or ill, no one understands. Right. So the other thing with dry fasting is I can't remember all of this, but I'm just going to try and roughly get it close. What happens is we're able to get rid of the proteins and things that are covering the DNA. And then the RNA can communicate with the DNA and reprogram it back to what it should be. Right. So the RNA messenger, it can't get through, basically. Which is why. So that's why eyeballs rebuild themselves in 3 days. Well, why did we go blind? The gut's rebuilt in 3 days. I think. There's also lots of other things, but it's basically in 7 years you get a whole brand new body. So my question for years is
why? Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Why are we crippled, broken, blind, diseased, dying, whatever?
Doesn't make sense.
So 2 things go on that I've found out now. One is so I've always described it like this, right? The DNA is the masterpiece, and we photocopy the masterpiece. Well, you're supposed to photocopy the masterpiece every time, but what happens is, because we can't photocopy the masterpiece because it's covered in crap, we have to photocopy the photocopy. And if you imagine 100 photocopies later, you're going to have a blank page.
You know, I think I've heard something like that before. Was it Bruce Lipton or something? Maybe. Oh yeah. So it's that. Yeah, that's a really good point.
So that's what's happening to us. Is the RNA can't. This is, don't take this as gospel, guys, because I can't remember the actual thing. But that's the bottom line: is it can't actually reprogram the DNA.
It makes sense. Information is messed up, and that's why we need all of these other things. And whether we can do it in one generation, who knows? But I think maybe psychically, spiritually, there's so many levels to it that we got to reset and reprogram.
And what dry fasting does is it really does reset every level. You know, this is not a physical journey, even though it is, of course. It is definitely a physical, emotional, spiritual, and ancestry journey. And clearly, I didn't know I had so much to say about it, Phil. Clearly, and I've been watching dry fast videos as well.
You've got to download through this. This is great.
Oh, and this guy I watched, he was doing massive amounts of dry fasting, and he's now using it to take ancestral trauma out. So he's detoxifying ancestral trauma through dry fasting. I mean, it's mega. It's mega.
So how does he do that? Is it just doing it and then meditating and then letting it all come out? Or
okay, I'll tell you what he did. He did all this stuff, and he did some 5-day dry fasts, and he couldn't get well. He couldn't get rid of what was going on. So then he came across this lady. So listen carefully to this, right? She did 15-day dry fast. Came off the dry fast for 3 days.
What doing? Just water or juice?
I don't know yet. That's the bit of information I haven't got. Okay. Then she went back on the dry fast for 15 days. Came off for 3 days. Went back on the dry fast for 15 days. Came off for 3 days. Went back on the dry fast for 15 days. And the reset happened. And for him, everything that was ever wrong with him had gone away.
Wow.
Isn't that something? So then when he did it the next time, he realized that he was going through ancestral layers of trauma. So we're talking about the alcohol coming out of me after 25 years, say, as deep work. You know, what was coming out of him after all that. And this is what he does now. He just...
So it sounded like you had some emotions coming up and you were getting all like, I can't do this and all. So like, was it negative emotions? Like what was like, I'm kind of interviewing you here. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, that was really, though, Phil, that was mainly about the lack of breath. That was about the lack of oxygen. That's really what that was. I had mind tricks going on. But that's probably because my brain was starving.
Right.
And it was going to do whatever it could to stay alive, right? The same as the parasites, viruses, and the bacteria. They're going to do whatever they can to stay alive. But I think because of the level of detoxing that I've done on all those levels, I don't think I really had that. I think mine was more about the my brain kind of dying because of not, suffocating because of not enough oxygen. And it's great actually talking to you guys about it, because I haven't written it all in my journal because I don't know half of it until I start talking about it. And then it's like, oh, wow, I didn't see that. I didn't realize that actually I was starving myself, because it's a bit of a ridiculous thing to say. Of course I was starving myself. But when you're starved of oxygen, then you're absolutely right. The brain is going to do whatever it can to keep me alive. So it's going to go, Phil, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. I feel terrible. You need to stop. And I'm like, no, I need to get into that, because seven's like another. So something happens on day 3, something happens on day 5, something happens on day 7, and then day 9, and then day 11. That's actually logged. So I really wanted to get to day 7, but I think oxygen's crucial. Good quality oxygen is crucial. So then I was thinking, oh well, maybe I need to to do it to get a different result, a deeper result, is to do it either near the ocean where you've got the negative ions, near a lake, near a stream or a river, or of course in the forest where you've got that really clean, pure air. So that's what I've learned. The thing is, though, if people want to dabble with this, I would do a 12-hour dry fast, because it's quite easy at night. So you stop consuming anything, clean your teeth, say 8 o'clock, and then you come back off of it at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's a 12-hour dry fast. It's dead easy. And then they recommend that a book that you can start with a 24-hour dry fast. But I think a lot of it is the mental chatter nonsense that goes on. And so if you start consciously, this is the thing, most people dry fast for 8 hours a night anyway. Most people. But they're not doing it through choice. They're not going, right, I'm going to dry fast tonight. And once you add that little thing in of, oh, I'm going to dry fast, then all the fear and all this, that, and the other comes in, all the nonsense comes in. It changes everything. Just that little bit of commitment to yourself. And then, of course, you just go on, you do like 12 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours. Or you can just do longer stretches of 12 hours, then you can build up into 24. I was playing around with 44 and 46-hour dry fasts before. I hadn't done many long ones. I'd done 124, 136, 146, and 144-hour dry fast. But I'd been, last year when I was fasting, if you remember, I did 90 days of 16 hours a day of dry fasting. That's when it starts to make a difference, and it's that accumulation thing over time.
So Tim had some questions. Did you poop?
No.
No. Okay.
No, not one. It was amazing.
Oh, interesting. And then he said, so dry fasting helps to balance the chemicals in the brain that causes psychological pain, whether you know what that pain is or not. And then he's like, what is ancestral pain? What do you mean by that? Did you say that? You said that. So
ancestral trauma. What do I mean by it? So basically, because we're water, right? Water molecules. And our cells have a memory. So, we're not us, right? We are our ancestors. So any trauma or any illness, not any, but it's not, not every illness or trauma that our ancestors have, if they haven't dealt with it or worked through it, it gets passed on. So what looks like a hereditary disease, or it's all in your genes, right? It is. I'm guessing. Maybe not. Okay. So on the level it can be. So, okay, let's just go down the gene thing. Then I'll go to another thing about that. In the gene thing is, from the research that I've done and Gabriel Cousins' work, genes are switches. So I think Bruce Lipton talks about this quite a lot, epigenetics. So if you feed genes vitamin D, for example, we know it switches off lots of aging genes and switches on, I think it's like 17 aging genes it turns off, and it turns on youth in genes. If you eat McDonald's, I'm always going to pick on McDonald's because it's just shit poison. It turns on aging genes and turns off youth in genes. So if we're in a really bad environment, it turns off our healing genes and turns on our sickness genes. So it looks like it's all about the genes, but it's actually all about the environment. So, yeah, I think I can say this. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've got a friend of mine that studies cancer, right? And he said to me last year, we now know, Phil, and he's in a family, right, that has hereditary cancer, right? Hereditary cancer. He said to me, we now know that cancer is not hereditary. We now know it's dietary led. That's amazing from one of the top people in the world, right? So my scientist friend I was talking about very early on in the show, he told me 2 decades ago that illness is circumstantially hereditary. So that's another aspect of disease, is we're all doing the same thing.
Mhm.
We eat the same food 3, 4, 5 times a day. We have the same thoughts millions of times a day. We use the same kind of bed linen. We have the same whatever. It's basically the same. So we're going to get the same results.
You know, soaps that we use, all those things. Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore, we're going to get the same results because nothing's changing. So it looks like it's hereditary, but we're all doing the same thing. So then if you go a bit deeper into the shamanic world, you have your energy field or your light body. So if you imagine now that your energy or your energy field or your light body is like, this is how I first found out about it when I was very young, when I was fasting in the caravan in the woods. And I was like, oh, so that's back then it was the videotape, right? You can tell how long ago it was. Oh, that's the videotape. So let's just call it the DVD, right? Because it's more than a CD. It carries everything. So this energy field you've got records every single thing that's ever happened in your life and every single thing that's ever happened in your ancestors' lives, because you energetically, this field gets passed on. So it looks like it's passed on through the genes. However, what I'm suggesting is it's passed on through this DVD, the energy field. And then what happens is that energy field plays out through the physical vehicle. And that's behavior, thoughts, food patterns, you know, whether you're an alcoholic or you smoke, whatever. It's not necessarily your stuff. So any trauma that's happened is in your field that's resonating or playing through your DVD player. And then the screen, the outside world, becomes your screen of what you see. And it's all based on your field, which is why lots of people go traveling, right, to change. Well, they can't change because their energy field goes with them. So after they've been traveling, all the excitement's ended. Well, guess what? They're stuck with themselves. So as I always used to say, wherever I go too. So you cannot escape yourself because you take yourself with you. And that's why the shamanic work, the colored mirrors work we do, the EFT, all of those tools reduce that load that's in your field. And this, to get true health, we have to, it's all about unclogging, right? So we've got to unclog the physical vehicle so the RNA can read or code the DNA. So the DNA can replicate properly. So the genes switch on and off properly. So the genes that we want to switch on, the healthy genes we want to switch on. The genes that are trying to mess up our program, they get switched off. So it's very multifactorial, and on a level very complicated. On another level, it's really simple. We've got to detox this incredible earth vehicle that we've been given on every level, emotionally, spiritually, physically. If we don't, we suffer, right? I've suffered massively in my life and I don't want to suffer anymore because it's crappy. And, you know, people say to me, oh, so what are you going to these depths for? It's crazy. Of course it's crazy, but I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be average. I don't want to have an average life. I'm not aiming to get a nice house and a nice car and a degree, a horse and a dog. I don't give a shit. Because if I haven't got my health, if I haven't got inspiration, purpose, dedication, what have I got? I've got a nice house and a nice car. Whoopee-doo. Why not have a clear field, a clear body, a nice house and a nice car? Because what use is it to you without that? If you're not happy, what use is all that external crap? If you're not well, What use is it? It's no use at all. If you're making loads of money, get out there and get some work done. Go get a therapist. Go on a fast, get a colonic, eat some organic food, find a great cafe, do something useful to yourself, because that's how we're going to shift out of this mess we're in now, is by shifting our field. When we shift our field, we shift consciousness. The field of consciousness changes, it shifts, and everybody else around us grows. So we have to be selfish to be of real service.
This is brilliant, Phil. You're getting the download from this fast. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really feeling it now.
Oof.
Yeah, I can really feel that. When I was talking then, it was like I was completely plugged in. Just plugged in. It wasn't me. It was just, that's truth, man.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, on the level, I'm really sorry because I stopped that flow because it was it was getting too much. That truth flow was getting a little bit too much then. And yeah, you know, we have to do the work. If we want to stop what's going on right now, this is it. This is the opportunity. This is the time. This is the time of evolution or devolution, and it's up to you which you do. You can evolve for everybody else or devolve for everybody else. And I've definitely chose to evolve for everybody else. And, you know, it's not easy. It's not an easy path. Ooh.
Now you're red, buddy.
Wow, who knew that was coming out?
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's what happens, right? This is what I wanted, is to be connected to source. Mm-hmm. And to be able to really communicate through my heart and not through the ego, because it's you get people, right? If I can sit and communicate like this, it's going to change lives. So the other thing I got out of it for me was having to up my game. Always spiritually, emotionally, and physically. But on the food thing, for this is what I said at the beginning of the show, and he's like, "Oh, let's get in the show and we'll start." Was I need to buy a vacuum blender? You ever heard of one of those, Phil?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The BioChef make a vacuum blender, and it sucks all of the air out of the blender. So when you blend your food, there's zero oxidation. Mm-hmm. And then you can pour your smoothie into, so you can, yeah, let's just do it with the smoothie. You can pour your smoothie into a Kilner jar and put a lid on. Then you get a vacuum sealer that sucks all the oxygen out of the jar. That'll keep for 2 or 3 days and be as fresh as when you made it.
Wow. And
then you can also juice. So like I do, I take juice and smoothers to work with me, right? So clearly they're oxidizing all the time. Mm-hmm. So you can take a juice now, do the same thing, pour it into a Kilner jar, put the lid on, vacuum seal it, and it will last 3 or 4 days. Mm-hmm. You can make 3 or 4 days worth of juice because it's vacuum sealed, it's not oxidizing.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean, it's like, isn't that cool? So it just takes all of that to the next level. And then, you know, the other thing that came in is like, you know, something else I learned. This is exciting. I didn't know this. Water is H2O2, right? Mm-hmm. Since I've become, yeah. Oh, right.
They told us in science.
It's H2O2 plus loads of crap, right?
Yeah.
But what I found yesterday was the water. Oh, sorry, H2O. Sorry, Charlie, you're right. It's H2O.
We're just poisoning everyone with hydrogen peroxide, but oh well.
Yeah, it's H2O. Sorry, but fruit juice, fresh fruit juice water is H3O. Which means because it's got that extra molecule of hydrogen in, It means that it actually hydrates. You're getting thirsty, Phil, aren't you? It means that it actually hydrates the body so much more efficiently. So what came to me with all of that was, what I need to do is, instead of drinking water, drink herb teas.
Mm-hmm.
Do infusions of really good quality herb teas that are either going to rejuvenate or detox, or both, and strengthen. So in my smoothies, instead of putting the powders in my smoothie, I'm going to buy the herbs. So I'm going to buy the leaf, let's say moringa. I'm going to buy the leaf of moringa, the leaf of ginkgo biloba, the leaf of nettle and hemp, and make a tea the night before, so it can cold brew overnight, and then put the leaves and the tea into my smoothie and blend it up.
Oh, the whole thing, not
The
just
whole
the
thing. No, put the leaves in as well, so you get all of it. Because when they've soaked overnight, all those leaves will become really nice and soft, so therefore they'll blend really easily. So that's kind of, so vacuumed smoothies and herb. So also making a smoothie, in that tea, you could put your dates to soak them up. You could put your goji berries to soak up the water, so everything's hydrated. And then the other message I got to update is, if I want to eat any dried fruit, make sure it's in the fridge, not necessarily in the fridge, but soaked. And then, of course, put it in the fridge to make it last longer. So you can soak like a week's worth of dates or 5 days worth of dates. You can put them in a sealed container, soak them, put them in the fridge, and they're always ready to go. So, yeah, and just fruit. The thing for me that came through is just fruit. Just, I don't know where on earth in this country I can get really good quality fruit, but it's all about, for me, it's all about juicy fruit. And of course, juicy fruit is really cleansing, really detoxifying, and really hydrating. Wow, Phil, who knew that was in there?
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
So the thing that I spent an hour and a half doing today was, I thought, there's got to be a list of raw food books somewhere. Well, I couldn't find a decent list. So I went onto Amazon. I'm going to make it public soon. I went onto Amazon and plugged in like Rainbow Live Green Food Cuisine and raw food books. And I've saved them into a folder. So I spent an hour and a half trolling through Amazon to find all the raw food books. Like, I still haven't touched it because I had to keep going down rabbit holes. It gave me like 8 pages. And I'm like, but I don't know half of these books. And there's loads of books that I do know. Where are they? So then I went down again and went through frequently bought with, and I went through, like, on every book, 20 or 40 pages of frequently bought with this book. So then I could get down the rabbit hole and find the next book. And then when I got down, I went down and down, and I just kept doing that. And I've probably got 100 raw food books on my list on Amazon.
Why did you do that?
Because the other thing that I want to do more is to practice on making really delicious raw food to serve to people and encourage people and help people and sell it.
We know the power of that. Like, we're not going to walk out and inspire people with, hey, do a dry fast. But if we can inspire people with good food, then we can get to the dry fast or the fast or the juice.
Exactly. So that was I was trying to find books myself, which I have found a few lovely books with good recipes in, so I can, I don't really need the raw food how-to now. I want the raw food recipes to give me ideas, so I can, even some vegan recipes are great because I can just change them. But really get deep and up. And Pete's been like this. He's been in the kitchen. Some days it's been tough. He's been in the kitchen all day long making amazing food. Just practicing. He's trying to get off a proper a raw vegan banana bread. And he's making a raw vegan fruitcake. Oh man, he's got it. I mean, he's nailing it. And this is the way to get to people. It's no good me talking about dry fasting or juice fasting or water fasting or spiritual dancing or shamanic fires. We've got to get to them somehow, because this food, there's no doubt about it, clean organic food, full stop, changes consciousness. I think me and Phil have talked about this loads of times about, the importance of clean, organic, everything, no matter what it is, clean, organic, everything. And then there's levels. And, if I really want to get to people or encourage people, inspire people with raw food, it's got to be through desserts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I was at the Tree of Life, I did say when I was training, I'm going to be a dessert chef because I was so good at it and I loved it. Well, now, clearly, I've got to do it. So that's the upshot of my book list. Was I wanted to find some really good raw food recipe books, and I think I bought about 6, but I just went on to find. So yesterday I bought those 6, and today I've just gone on, and it's just like, wow, because I can't find a raw food book list. Yeah, you can find 5 or 10, but you can't find 100.
Right.
And there's some great books out there, Phil, that I've never seen before. So the next thing for me to do on those might be, this is another thought that I was doing, it was now get the titles and go to the library and get a few books out of the library at a time, read them, decide which ones are really of value. And then I can either put them in order on my list. I don't know if I'm going to do that, or if I can rate them. And then I'll know which ones to buy.
Right.
Whenever I manage to find the time and energy for that, I have no idea. But that's something that I've been inspired to do.
Cool. I love it.
Wow. I'm gonna have a spray fill for us.
Okay.
Cool. Hey everybody, this is Uriel. I can't remember. It's copper, so it's going to be about really, really deep grounding, because copper and colored mirrors is about grounding. It's about getting in there. Okay. Got it. You ready? Wow. My word. Oh, so that's Oriole. And I'm going to go for Moldavite, because Moldavite is another really grounding. It's another really grounding spray. It'll be strong, I think. Oh, and then there's so many. I love them all today. I'm going to go for Ruby Red, Phil, because this is about, as you probably know now. Do you know what Ruby Red's about, Phil? Do you remember?
Remind me. I forgot.
Tribe.
Oh, yeah.
It's about finding your family. And, that's what this show's all about. It's about us and other people finding their family. And that's, our tribe. And it's really important at these times, because I know lots of people with their family don't feel like they've got a family. So when you haven't got a physical family, you need a tribe, right? And this one here is about finding your tribe. So the first two about being grounded and getting spiritual. And the last one was about finding your tribe, because that in these times now, I think is really crucial. And in another level, what's happening is making it easier. So I love it. Thank you guys for giving us this big push, this kick up the arse that we need, spiritually, emotionally, physically. This is like a great big kick to say, come on, who are you? Let's be you. Stop messing around trying to have whatever you think. Be you. Right. Something else I think I'm going to pull. Today, Phil, I don't know if I've done this on the show. I'm going to pull us a card. You all right with that?
Yeah, I was just going to say on the tribe. So last night I was a raw food meetup and it was great. And then afterwards there was like a few of like the core, and we've been doing this more like after the meetings, like the core group of people like hang out afterwards. And the conversations are amazing. And it was just one lady, and I've observed this in myself, but I've observed it in her, of like, she's kind of been in a lot of fear state. And I was like, we got to raise this up. And we've talked about this a lot. And it was just,
sorry. Can I just interrupt? Who was in fear state?
Well, I am, we all are in some ways. We've all tapped into that fear state of the field. But
No,
I've observed.
It's just I thought you were talking about someone specifically. That was all.
Well, I was,
Oh.
but I also know that one finger pointing at somebody else is, pointing back at me. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well
just
done.
that. But yeah, so I observed in this person a lot of fear and like fear about, oh, we're going to be shedding and all these people and like just really, really scared. And I was like, we got to change this. We got to raise our vibration. We cannot be like true or not really doesn't matter, but we've got to change our vibration. So we're in another place where that doesn't even matter, whether it's true or not. It's like we got to raise our energy and we got to come together and just talking that and watching, she lit up, she's like, oh, you are right. Like, because I knew I could tell this person this. It wasn't like some random person. I knew her, so I could tell her this, and she got it. She's like, yeah, you're right. I need to up my game and up my vibration here because we're playing the same game by being in fear. It's like we got to shift that. So that was just that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, Phil. I think the other thing is, of course, is with all this that's going on, is getting ourselves in a good place, not just emotionally, spiritually, physically, which of course is really important, but also hanging out with the people that aren't going to shed all over you. Hanging out within that tribe, hanging out with that tribe of people.
Shedding is emotional shedding or whatever,
Yeah, whatever. Emotional, spiritual, physical shedding, it's all disgusting. So it doesn't actually matter what they're shedding. It's about who do you want to hang out, who do you want to hang out with, who do you want to be with, who's your tribe?
Because that builds your core energy. And then if you're around other people, it's not going to affect you. But if you don't have that tribe and you only have negative people or whatever you perceive that, then that's going to become your reality. But if you have a core tribe, then you can handle whatever.
Yes, it's like, are those people that you hang out with feeding you or sucking you?
Mm-hmm.
If they think they're feeding you, it doesn't bloody matter. It's whether they are or not.
Right.
If you're hanging out with someone and it's like, whoa, then they're not feeding, they're taking from you.
Right.
And that's really important for us to all learn that, we have adversities to people for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that I really want to get to know and I really kind of like them. And my body's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, but I really want to hang out with that person. And my body's like, no, it's like a spirit swerve.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting having those. And, I guess once again, the clearer and cleaner I get, the easier it is to listen to those.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Phil, we're going to pick a card. So you tell me when to, I won't put it in the camera. You just tell me when to stop.
Now.
What was I doing? I don't know what I was doing. Sorry, I was focusing so much on you saying stop. I'll have to do that again so I know what. Yeah, okay. When you're ready.
Stop.
That was funny. I got all confused then. It's like, which card do I pick? Okay.
Yeah, and like just the being observation of this whole freedom movement. And I think you talked about it the other day. You went to one place, you was like, you weren't resonating with people. And it's like, we're loving all of these, like people are waking up and getting this, but then there's also this just like, I don't really want to be around this anger towards the government. I mean, like an awareness of it, but like this anger and this fire and all this. It's like, nope. I want people who want to raise up humanity. So,
yeah, you're going to love this one, brother.
I know I am.
No,
I got to find power. So I'm walking around right now.
Well, when you've settled, keep talking to me for a minute. When you've settled, I'll show you the card. It will blow your socks off. It takes us right back to the beginning of the conversation.
Coming.
He's taking us on a house tour.
Yeah.
That's quite big.
Plug in here.
Man, you've got a nice load of books on your shelf, Phil.
I know. I'll figure out how to bring them all over with me.
Are you going to? Are you going to sell them?
No, they got to bring the books. I know. I'm attached to the books. I'm going to unplug this in 1 sec. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we're still there.
Volume up. All right. Hey, I'm ready.
You ready? I'm going to hit you with it. So what color were you
Really
talking about? At the
quiet for some reason, but
what color were you talking about at the beginning of the show, Phil?
why is it so quiet? Is that better?
It's fine for me.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I just had to change a setting. Okay, go. I'm ready.
What color were you talking about at the beginning of the show?
Pink. Whoa, look at that. Pink dragon. Whoa, inner child.
And that's kind of where I was when all that
yeah.
spirit truth was coming through. I was right in my inner child.
Mhm.
So is this the right one? No.
Wow.
Pink dragon, guys, right? This light's terrible. Pink dragon, inner child. We all have an inner child within us that from time to time needs to be acknowledged and allowed to express his or her needs. When we ignore the inner child's needs, it tends to get our attention by preventing us from doing life in an adult manner. You might develop sugar cravings and gain weight, or spend money you don't have and be in debt. Become aware of which aspect in your life is still being run by the wounded inner child that limits your potential for an abundant life. The inner child helps you to take time out to play and have fun with life. Without the healthy inner child, life would be boring and dull and far too serious. Use the pink dragon energy to help you create joyful activities in your life. Where you feel the inner child is still wounded, sulky, or stubborn, use pink dragon to help the inner child know that it is loved and heard. This dragon is named the Disney dragon because she brings cheerfulness, spontaneity, and fun as her gift.
Why can't I hear you now?
Oh, I don't know. What have you done, or what have I done? Can you hear me? Are you frozen, Phil?
I lost connection.
No, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I've got you fine.
What's going on? We have lost. We can hear you. You can hear me?
I can hear
Can we
you
hear
loud and,
Phil? Or is Phil frozen?
I can hear you loud and clear, Phil.
Are you hearing both of us, but not? Okay, why am I not hearing Phil? Charlie can hear both of us. I can't hear Phil. Phil's frozen to me. Okay, I'm gonna log out and log back in.
No, I've lost you now, Phil.
I'm muted. Hi, I hear you. Log out. Looks like we're still on. We're still streaming. Oh, we're still streaming, so we're good.
Right, Phil.
That's very interesting because I needed that card.
This is you on the hot seat, baby. Now, where did we get to?
I needed that card. Like, it's perfect because I've been really super serious about everything.
Phil, the thing is, though, I haven't finished it.
I know it doesn't really matter, but you can finish it. But yeah, I'm just like, wow. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is why this is, yeah. So isn't it interesting that this, this is what you really want to hear, but something doesn't want to hear it because you just cut it all off completely. But the other two could hear me.
Yeah.
Right.
They could hear me. It was very weird.
So you heard about being too serious.
Mm-hmm.
So use the pink dragon energy to help you create joyful activities in your life where you feel the inner child is still wounded, sulky, or stubborn. Use pink dragon to help the inner child know that it is loved and heard. This dragon is nicknamed the Disney dragon because she brings cheerfulness, spontaneity, fun as her gift to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Phil, for you do bring a lot of fun and spontaneity and childlike stuff to the table.
Right, but I've been suppressing that, and I've been all serious about my job and move, and it's actually manifested. I've been having some discomfort in my liver, so I was looking up liver today, and it's connected to feeling trapped, which is like seriousness and like all those things. I'm just like, okay, I gotta up my game in some way, make some shifts.
Or get some liver herbs, Phil, and make liver tea.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I got Shankapiedra today. I was making that this morning, so that's why I started. I'm just gonna lighten up for a few days and maybe just do Shankapiedra tea and some lemon juice and maybe some milk thistle, stuff like that. Yeah,
milk thistle is always a winner because it's just a good liver tonic. But like dandelion root tea, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Dandelion root really strengthens the liver.
I've probably got some in my pile of herbs over there.
Yeah, get when you get to work tomorrow, see what you've got in for liver and dive in the bag.
Well, I think I might have some here on my shelf here. I got a lot of herbs.
Oh wow!
So I'm sure there's some dandelion there somewhere. Yeah.
Wow, there's no messing around there, Phil.
Licorice, but I know there's some ginseng, old ginseng roots there.
Yeah, ginseng and licorice feel great for the adrenals.
I'd
make sure you're
strong right now. Strange.
Yeah, make sure you're getting some ginseng and some. If you've got some Siberian ginseng and some licorice, be really good to support your liver with your adrenals for what you're going through.
I'm sure I got some here. There's some burdock root. Did you say burdock? You said burdock, right?
Yeah, burdock's great. Yeah, amazing.
So I got that. Yeah, cool. And you had some burdock root.
I did say dandelion root, but burdock's good. Burdock's a blood cleaner and blood builder.
I got some dandelion there somewhere. Or if not, I can pick some up today.
Yeah, make yourself a nice root. I picked up a great teapot, Phil, actually, the other day. Mm-hmm. It's a glass teapot that you can put on the cooker top.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually put all your herbs in it, and it's completely clear glass. You can put your herbs in it, and you can either simmer it or bring it up to boil, whatever, and you can watch it cook. And then you can just leave the tea in the teapot kettle and then pour it out as you want.
Well, let me show you this teapot. We got an electric teapot here, this one, and it's got different temperatures on it.
Yeah, but that's an electric kettle, though, isn't it?
It is, but it has. Where is it? It has this thing that goes on the inside. Wow, we're just on this. Where am I today? It's this. It has this thing where you put all the herbs in it. I can't find it right now.
Oh, really? What, in the kettle?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I think it's washed somewhere. Darn it, where did it go? Bear with me while I'm just playing around in my kitchen.
I know. When we're chatting like this, I've got to remember we're still on the video.
Well, it's real, right? Like this is.
I've got to remember we're still live because at the moment we're just kind of hanging out. This is what we do when we're not on video, is we just hang out. If we
and then we're always like, wow, this should be a show. So I'm not finding it right now, but it has like under this, it has like a little basket, and you put your herbs in the basket, and then you can heat the water. So
brilliant. Yeah, great show.
Great. Well, I think I keep running out of batteries. So I think maybe this is the end of the show today. So
brilliant, Phil. Brilliant.
Great show. And I loved your download. You were beautiful today. It was like Phil shone through. It was just beautiful. Thank you.
And apparently it's over 2 weeks that you actually kind of come back.
Mm.
So I'm going to go have another juice in a minute. So the
Well,
challenge, my biggest challenge now is to stay hydrated without overdoing it. That's the hardest part.
right.
Sorry, Phil, you were going to say.
I was just saying, I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
Been another fabulous episode of the Phil and Phil Show. We could keep going forever, but there's always a cycle to everything.
So much to say, bro. So much to say and share.
So go to our website, philandphil.com. Please make a donation so that we can pay for our website hosting and Zoom. And Phil's beautiful microphone there. That's and Phil's dry fasting that doesn't cost anything. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
So,
and also, guys, if you love our content, please subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up and share. Share us, because this is what we need. We need the thumbs up. We need to be shared, and please on YouTube be interactive. Please leave us comments. Really appreciate that, because if we get interaction, then YouTube starts to recognize us, and then that becomes really good for us. So thumbs up, subscribe, leave a little comment.
So Charlie, just go to philandphil.com and then click on the YouTube link. I don't know why it's hard to find us on YouTube. Probably we're buried somewhere, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to do some work on that somehow. So yeah, if anyone knows how we can become more visible on YouTube and any other platform, we'd really appreciate that.
Thanks, Wendy. All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys. Big love to you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.